This is an interesting question from a subscriber. Can you make a video about natural talent versus hard work? I see so many people who seem naturally good at problem solving. Their IQ is just higher. I know about having a growth mindset and how the brain literally grows when we learn new things, but some people are naturally better at making those connections. Some people learn a lot faster and even retain those things. So it makes me question whether it is even worth it to put in all the efforts. I do still try to keep learning, but every so often I see people like you who are really good and leads to the inferiority complex issues. It's an interesting topic of is natural talent better, or what's better, natural talent or hard work? This question, I mean, there's like multiple things that determine success, and it kind of, depending on what you're optimizing for, this makes sense. But just like for the sake of the question, let's just say that these are the only two factors that we care about, which is natural talent and hard work. And those are the only factors that will affect what you're optimizing for, which is success. So what would be better, natural talent or hard work, if you want to be successful in life? I would say these two things are not mutually exclusive. You can have natural talent and you can work hard at the same time. So I would say there's two. Let's say over here there's natural talent, right? There's natural talent, and then there's also hard work. So the initial question is, what's better, natural talent or hard work? And I'm saying these are not mutually exclusive. You could be naturally talented and work hard, or you could be natural talent. You can just have straight natural talent and not work hard. And then there's the case that you can put in hard work and have no natural talent. And unfortunately, there's a case where you don't have both. So no hard work and no natural talent. So when I first saw this question, it's like, can you make a video about natural talent, hard work? It's a very good question. It's not mutually exclusive. You can be naturally talented and you could work hard. And then if I had to rank these, I would say the person who's naturally talented and works hard are able to achieve really crazy things in society. And I've already seen that firsthand working in the Bay Area, of people who are very naturally talented. Maybe they went through school, they already learned like multivariable calculus and stuff in high school. Maybe they graduated high school early, they went to an Ivy League university, finished Ivy League university in like 3 years, and then they go to the Bay Area and they just work like 16 hours a day at some idea that they're passionate about and create some multi-billion-dollar company. I've seen that already, and there's people I know who are on that path already. And that's really what I see with natural talent or hard work. Even for like basketball players, Kevin Durant or LeBron James, they have a lot of natural talent. Like, they're really tall, they're really strong, and they have the skills to pay the bills. So, and if you watch their work ethic, if you watch Kevin Durant training, if you watch LeBron James training, they work really hard day in and day out. So if you're naturally talented, don't waste that, and also work hard, I would say, because you can achieve some really amazing things in this world. So I would say I would rank that as number one. If I had to figure out a number two, hard work and not natural talent, I would say number two would definitely be. So now we're of course not working hard and not having natural talent would probably not be optimal for you if what we're optimizing for is success. But if we had to choose between the two, hard work and not natural talent, or natural talent and not hard work, I would say hard work and no natural talent would actually be better than natural talent and no hard work. And there's like blurred lines between any of these. You could be like a little bit hardworking and naturally talented, but let's just say these are mutually exclusive from each other. Like you could only be one of these four buckets. Let's see. So I would say naturally talented and hard work. Those people are very blessed and they could do some amazing things in this society and world. And hardworking people with no natural talent, from what I've seen, these people are able to achieve more success than people who have natural talent and they don't work hard. So that's kind of how I'd answer that question. I would say it's not mutually exclusive. If you see here, these top two all involve hard work. So if you're gonna do anything, at least work hard. You never know if you're not talented or not. Like, how do you know if you're actually talented? Talent is just relative. You could not think you're talented because you're looking at people on the internet or looking at people who are the smartest people that you know and comparing yourself to them. But talent is relative, right? But hard work is not relative. Hard work, somebody who works hard, somebody who works a 16-hour day construction job, that person works hard no matter what and no matter where you go in this world. So hard work is kind of a constant. Talent, I feel, is just relative. Living in San Francisco Bay Area, everyone's kind of talented. And a lot of people I know were the top people in their school. If you go to their old high school, people would say that they're smart. They're ranked in their country because a lot of people move from different countries and they ranked top in their country. That's how they're able to go to like Berkeley or go to Stanford. So these people have natural talent. So I'm surrounded with a lot of people with natural talent, and you start to realize that natural talent is all just relative, and what really takes people further than others is hard work. So really dedicating yourself to something and working hard towards a goal you want to achieve. So having a goal you want to achieve and then figuring out a good way to get there. So that's kind of how I answered this. This is what I said to this person. Let me quickly read it. And let me make sure I covered all the topics that I wanted to get. I think, yeah, definitely figuring that out. Yeah, it's just way better to work hard than to be smart. From my experience, it's just people who work harder are still able to achieve great things in this world. But I've seen some people who are very naturally talented kind of make it go to waste. So I would say if you're going to focus on anything, control what you can control. And what you control is working hard at something that you want to achieve. And yeah, working towards a specific goal that you want to achieve and working smart about it, not just hard about it as well. And working smart means like coming up with like figuring out for example, if I'm trying to get good at programming, I'm going to look at the market and see what the market really needs. Also look at what I'm interested in, what are my passions, and trying to figure out what are the things that I really want to do. What are the things that I enjoy doing in programming? Because doing the things I enjoy allow me to work longer or work harder at that specific problem. And then not just like going through a bunch of tutorials, but being smart about figuring out where your weaknesses is and building on those. I could do a whole video on that probably in a different time. That was kind of a bad explanation, but let's see. So yeah, definitely work hard. That's a constant. Natural talent is relative. You don't really know if you're naturally talented or not. Who says you're not talented? You might actually be very talented, but you're just comparing yourself to the wrong people or random people on the internet. If I compare myself to Elon Musk, I'm always going to be less successful because that man's just crazy successful right now. So when it comes to like starting businesses. So what else? Yeah, hard work is relative. I already covered that. let me post in my response to this person. Oops, forgot to blur them out. Let's do that quick. Whatever. This person doesn't. It's okay if I show them for this time. I won't do that on the next person. But I said, yeah, it's a great video idea. Like they mentioned, I decided to do it. But I think having a growth mindset, when you ask this question, I would just stop comparing myself to others and compare myself to me from before. So for example, when the year 2020, right now is 2024 and 2025 is about to end, I'm not comparing myself to anybody but myself. Maybe that's just how my brain operates. But what I'm going to do when 2024 ends is think about all of the stuff that I learned and then just like recap and meditate, or maybe not meditate, but just think about how my year went and what I learned, and then try to figure out what I want to learn for next year. And just think about and just be happy about all the things I learned. I learned a lot of different things, and I just care what I learned this year. I don't really care like how good somebody else got this year. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about myself and what I learned. And then after figuring out what I learned this year, seeing if I'm happy with it, seeing if I'm not happy with it, seeing if I could learn more next year or learn less next year, maybe look at things that I did achieve, maybe look at things I didn't achieve. But all the things that I'm looking are things specifically for me. And then for the next year, I come up with some new goals. And these goals are all relative to where I'm at with myself. I'm not comparing myself to anybody else. I'm just comparing myself. So when 2026 rolls around, I'll be seeing like where I was right now, with over that, like back then. And if you start to look at yourself, you'll really start to see a lot of growth in yourself, and you'll just be super excited to keep learning, because you'll drive yourself mad thinking about other people and what they're learning. I don't know if my brain just doesn't think like that, but I just don't really consider that. And I just kind of focus on what I know and then focus on what I can prove, and then every year building and building on that. And yeah, and then you'll just end up, maybe you can take a look up once in a while to see where you are in relation to your peers. But I would suggest just stay focused on yourself. So yeah, I said having a growth mindset here's key. Like your brain is not fixed intelligence. You can get smarter. Honestly, when I first started school, I was not smart. So the fact that you're calling me smart is just crazy, because I wouldn't even consider myself smart. So that really just shows that, imagine I didn't consider myself smart 5-6 years ago. I would never get to the point I am at right now, because I would just say that I'm not smart and just leave it as is. But I mean, I read this thing on like a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset as well, and you mentioned it in your post. But like, thinking of your brain as something that's like a muscle that can grow is really key here. I don't really believe in natural talent that much. I believe that if you work at something hard enough, you're gonna get good at it, especially when it's something like coding or something like chess or something with like where the environment is not as randomized. For example, in basketball, the environment is way, like, I feel like it's harder to succeed in basketball than it is. Like, you can work all you want in basketball, but if you're not tall enough, if you don't have the physical attributes, you might not get anywhere. But I don't think that's the case with coding. So I think having a growth mindset here is key, and not comparing yourself to others, but instead comparing yourself to only yourself from yesterday, yourself from 6 months ago, and yourself from 2 years ago. Just think back and compare yourself from 2 years ago. Are you happy with where you came as a person in the last 2 years? If you are, like, pat yourself on the back, and then just think about what are things I can keep learning, because that's such a good feeling that when you improve as a person year over year and you just look back and see that you are a better person than you were before, If you don't, then maybe just look to see if there's things that you can improve, and just you won't be able to improve overnight, but just try to work at it day in and day out. And it sounds cliche, but what I mean is just focus on things that you want to learn or gaps in your knowledge, and then work to improve those. Once you do, look for more gaps and then improve those. It's all an iterative process. You don't get good at AI right away. First, you look at, oh, what do I don't know about AI? Oh, I don't know what backpropagation is. Oh, I don't even know how limits work and how to do and what's called how to do optimizations. I don't know how to do gradient descent, etc. I don't know multivariable calculus, so I can't even do gradient descent. Simple things like that. And then you just keep working backwards and figuring out, start improving some of those skills. And then once you get to a certain point, reassess and you realize, oh, I actually know some of those now. Maybe I can take it a step further. So yeah, that's kind of how I approach my life. I just, every year I look for gaps in my knowledge or things I want to improve. And then I make a plan for the upcoming year on how to improve those. And then in the next year, I improve those. And then I come up with a new set of plans that are a bit more ambitious than my last plans, because I hope to have got better that year. So what else? Yeah. So if you do that, if you look for gaps in your knowledge, work to improve those. Once you improve those, look for more gaps, then improve those, and repeat that over and over for a couple years. You're going to be really good at software engineering. You're going to be cracked, as these Gen Z kids been saying these days. Okay, how long? 16 minutes? Yeah. But I think definitely it is the case that some people learn faster than others. But I think you can get really, really good from just working at it every day. I've seen people get really good at coding. So I would say, don't worry about people who are naturally talented. There's going to be tons of people who are naturally talented. But natural talent, don't even worry about that. Just focus on the one thing that you can control, which is working hard. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Focus on what you can control. Working hard is the one constant in this world. Natural talent is all relative based on the people you're around. So just work hard. A person working 16 hours in the Philippines is as hard as working as somebody 16 hours in the US, or somebody 16 hours in Canada. That's not relative, it's constant. And if you can control that, it's more optimal. You see these two up here are hardworking, and the bottom two don't even work hard. So yeah, that's my take on everything. Hope that makes sense, and that's my philosophy behind that stuff.